Okay, let's talk about AI coding agents. The world of these tools is just exploding, right? It feels like every single week there's a new model, a new agent, a new something that promises to completely change the game. So, in this explainer, we're going to cut right through all that noise. We're going to give you a clear map of the landscape, who the big players are, and what the most important ideas are shaping coding as of, well, right now in August 2025. But first, I want to start with a big question, one that really frames everything we're about to discuss. For years, we've had AI assistants, right? Things that help with boilerplate code, little suggestions here and there. But the shift we're seeing now is, well, it's way more profound. The question isn't just, can AI help me write some code? It's becoming, can AI be a genuine collaborator? So think about it. Is your AI just an assistant, or is it actually becoming a colleague? Let's dig into that. We're going to kick things off with the heavyweights, the major platforms that are trying to be your complete all-in-one AI teammate. And you really should think of these less like a simple tool and more like hiring a single, incredibly powerful junior developer that you can just hand off complex tasks to. Now, the two biggest names here, Anthropic and OpenAI, are coming at this from completely different directions. Anthropic's Claude Code is all about deep code base awareness. It uses something called agentic search, which is a fancy way of saying it doesn't just read your files. It actively explores and builds a mental map of your entire project. It gets how everything connects, even in a repo with millions of lines of code. OpenAI's Codex agent, on the other hand, is much more task-oriented. It works inside a safe little sandbox where it can carry out these complex, multi-step jobs all on its own, like building a whole new feature from just a prompt. And what's fueling this power? Just sheer scale. Look at this number. OpenAI's newest model, GPT-5, can handle a context window of 256,000 tokens. To put that in perspective, that means the AI can hold the equivalent of a massive novel's worth of your code in its working memory, all at once. And that's a huge deal, because it allows it to make changes that are so much more aware of the project's bigger picture.
So let's boil it down. When would you use which? Because while they're both incredibly powerful, they're really built for different jobs. If you're taking on a massive, complex refactoring project and you need absolute control, Claude Code is where it's at. It has these hooks that let you literally pause its process and inject your own logic. You have total control. But if you just want to say, hey, build me this new feature, and have an agent go off and do it with almost no handholding, that's what OpenAI's Codex is designed for. It's all about that hands-off automation.
But being locked into one company's ecosystem, that's not for everybody. And this brings us to a whole different philosophy, one that's all about flexibility and choice, powered by a new wave of tools that don't care which model you use. And this is where a tool like Cursor comes into the picture. Cursor isn't just some editor with AI kind of bolted on the side. It was built from the ground up to be AI native. And its killer feature is that it's completely model agnostic. You can switch between models from OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, whoever, on the fly. So maybe you think Claude is better for understanding a gnarly old legacy file, but GPT-5 is better for brainstorming a creative solution. With Cursor, you don't have to choose. You just use the right tool for the job. It turns model selection into a strategic choice, not a platform you're stuck with. So far, everything we've talked about are these incredibly powerful single agents, these monoliths that are designed to be a jack of all trades. But what if the next huge leap forward isn't about making one agent even smarter? What if instead, it's about creating a whole team of specialists that work together?
This leads us to this really fascinating new concept that's coming out of the research world, the modular AI agent. The idea is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Instead of one AI trying to do everything, understand the problem, find the right code, write a test, fix the bug, and then verify its own work, you just break the problem down. You create a team of smaller, specialized subagents, where each one is an expert at doing just one part of that process.
And the analogy here is just perfect. You're not just hiring one brilliant but kind of inexperienced intern and hoping they can figure it all out. No. Instead, you're assembling a senior development team. You've got an agent that's an expert tester, another that's a master debugger, and a third that's just a focused coder. And they all work together, each one playing to their strengths.
And this isn't just some theory. Let's look at a real-world example from a recent research paper that introduced an agent system they call Masai.
The way Masa AI fixes a GitHub issue is the perfect showcase of this modular approach.
It's a 5-step assembly line. First, an agent just looks at the project and figures out, okay, how to test even work here. Then, a second agent writes a specific test that fails, proving the bug is real. A third agent then hunts through the codebase to find the exact files that need to be changed. Then you have the fixer, which proposes a bunch of potential solutions. And finally, the ranker takes all those proposed fixes, runs that failing test against them, and picks the one that works. It's so logical, so systematic. It's a bug squashing machine.
And the results? They're really, really compelling. This chart shows its performance on SWE Bench Lite, which is a benchmark made of messy, real-world GitHub issues that often totally stump other AIs. And as you can see, Messiah's divide and conquer strategy is right up there at the top, performing just as well as the best monolithic agents. This proves that this modular team approach has some serious potential.
Okay, so we've seen the giant all-in-one agents, and we've seen these new modular teams. What does this all mean for you, the developer, in your day-to-day work? How do you pick the right AI teammate? Let's break it down.
It really all boils down to two competing philosophies. On one side, you've got the monolithic approach from OpenAI and Anthropic. The goal is to create one superintelligent generalist that can reason its way through pretty much any problem. On the other side, you've got the modular approach, like Messiah, which basically argues that a team of focused specialists will be way more reliable for complex, well-defined problems. So here's a practical guide. For your daily productivity, just getting suggestions and writing boilerplate, GitHub Copilot is still the king. It's seamlessly integrated. If you want maximum flexibility and control, an AI-native editor like Cursor is your best bet. For those huge, creative, open-ended tasks like build me a new feature from this idea, you'll want the massive context window of an OpenAI or Anthropic agent. But for precisely and reliably squashing a complex bug, that's where the modular, test-driven approach of something like Messiah is showing huge promise for the future. And that's really the key thing to remember here. The researchers behind Messiah said it themselves. This field is nascent and rapidly evolving. And honestly, that feels like an understatement. The pace of change is just breathtaking. What seems like science fiction today could very well be a standard part of your workflow next year. Which brings us right back to our opening question, but with a whole new lens. As these tools keep evolving from just being simple assistants into truly autonomous collaborators, and even specialized teams, it forces us to ask a really profound question. What will it mean to be a software developer when your job is less about writing every line of code and more about directing a team of highly specialized AI agents? So what's next? Will your next hire be an AI agent? What do you think?